Okay. Be back again, hopefully. You awake now, Mods? Let's battle our Pokemon. I won't lose to you in battling or the bug catching contest. Well, I'll be here on Route 35. Let's talk again, huh? Hopefully, we're back again. But hi, Rain. How are you doing today? On this lovely Monday evening, and when my internet just wants to die repeatedly. My internet provider is Spectrum. The weirdest part is, like, up until this last week, I almost never have any issues with my internet. It's really just been this last week or so. STS2? Oh, Slay the Spire. Hopping up and down on the magnet train. I'm sorry, but you're a neurodivergent trans woman who found an RPG that has a card-based battle system. It's over. It's over, girly. I'm so sorry. See, it all came together when, like, people are like, oh, with the Kingdom Hearts games, they're all pretty good except Chain of Memories, and that one kind of sucks. And I'm like, what do you mean? Chain of Memories is, like, one of the best ones. And I'm like, oh, you mean the one with pixel art and the card-based battle system? That's the one you like, girl? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Makes sense. It's my turn to win now. I've turned over a new leaf. Flippy Flappy. Venomoth is so cute. I love, like, Venomoth's one of the Gen 1 Pokemon that benefited the most from its 3D model. It is super adorable if you run into a wild Venomoth. Oh no, Bubble Tape's been afflicted with PlayStation Network. It's like bad. I've been spending all day playing it since it came out, and it's at a point where I'm ignoring. Okay, probably actually try to take a break then. Or conversely, buy the Switch version, so at least you can walk around the house and do chores while playing it. Just like prop it up on the kitchen table and play it with one Joy-Con while you're doing like sweeping the floor or something. I don't know. Please actually take care of your health, though. Okay, here's the thing, Rain. You have to remember, if you get hospitalized, you can't get to your PC and you won't be able to play it anymore. Huh? I shouldn't have lost that. Taking breaks for food and water, but I have other body maintenance stuff. Don't ignore body maintenance stuff, please. I like you to have a body. But being corporeal is so exhausting. Okay, but you get to be corporeal with, like, boobs, and you paid a lot of money to have those, so. Make a fair argument. Okay, back to Goldenrod. We're gonna go back to Indigo Plateau. A few dozen more Gravelers or so. We should be able to get... At the very least, I want to get bubble tape to a cloister before the end of the stream. So, I am permanently broke, but that's unrelated to having boobs, supposedly. I figured that was more related to having bills. You know, the great system of pay your bills so you can go to work so you can pay your bills. Also, I feel like every viewer who's come in here to hang out has, like, probably already left because my stream died so many times. It's related to capitalism, but also yada yada yada, women being paid less, yada yada yada. It's like, one thing that irritates me the most with my stream dying is I feel like the keep the stream on casually in the background while you do another activity crowd, which I love and you guys are wonderful, kiss kiss, probably doesn't notice that the stream cut off, or they just think I ended early and they missed it, so they don't, like, refresh, which no fault on any of those people, but, like, one of the things that I'm like, God damn it, why does my internet gotta fucking fuck up? I just want to be a cute little mouse and play my funny video games and hang out with my friends. The struggle is real. Well, that and, like, sitting here, like, now I'm, like, continually glancing over at my modem and, like, my freaking, that little thing on OBS that looks like a cell phone signal thing. I'm gonna make my health potion tea. You go restore that health, girly. Alright, everybody, grab your favorite sugar-free, non-caffeinated beverage of choice. I got my water tumbler right here. And take a nice big sippy. I wonder if Maddie's asleep. Maybe they're just busy. You know, it's been a recent thing. They were talking about that, like, single-player PlayStation games are going to go back to being console exclusive instead of being on PC. And I'm a little bit split on that because, like, on the one hand, I am definitely a person who thinks like the more people have accessibility to a game, the better. But like on the other hand, I feel like games are what make a console. Like with the Switch, you know, obviously it has a lot of really cool stuff it can do. But it also like it has an amazing lineup of games you literally can't play anywhere else. Ice Beam, oh, it's 49. I thought it was 50. I think maybe it's 50 in red, blue, and yellow. We did it! We made it! Bubble tape can evolve! Companies not know that people plays games in groups. People like me. In groups, you mean like we'll hang out together and play a game and watch a game? Or do you mean like... I don't know, because, like, I feel like Monster Hunter and Pokemon especially are designed for a bunch of people to grab their Switch or their 3DS or their PSP or whatever and all, like, hang out and huddle together. But then again, like, when I was younger, a big thing is, like, me and friends would always, like, we'd all be playing Final Fantasy VII and talk about how we did, like, our materia and what part of the story we were on and if we got this character or fought this enemy. So, like, it was a single-player game, but we would share tips. Like, solo gaming, I enjoy solo for Monster Hunter. I feel like I'm not reading your sentence right. I don't know if I'm having a dyslexia moment, but, like, I mean, like, solo gaming. I enjoy solo game even for Monster Hunter. I would suffer alone. What do you mean, just like a group of everybody hanging out playing their own single-player game together? Because I feel like that's something that's much more recognized in Japan than it is in America. But then again, in the US, there's also a big push to, like, shove everybody in their house and have them all separate. Waterstone... Monster Hunter's made for co-op, so solo is only for people who just like being beat up by the game. I mean, I don't really have a choice because all the Monster Hunter games I have are either old or are Monster Hunter World on PS4, which I guess is old now too. Because, like, I refuse to pay for PSN. Because, okay, Nintendo is the only online service that is worth it. Because you get an absurd amount of value from the classic games you have access to. Where the value proposition for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live or whatever is almost nothing. Especially, like, the basic tier PlayStation Plus doesn't really get you a lot of bonus games. And it's like $80 a year US, when, like, the equivalent for Nintendo's $20 a year. I know Monster Hunter is 10 times easier if you play with people, but I keep picking the hellish difficulty. Not entirely surprised. Bubble tape, evolution time! It's Cloyster! That's a smug clam. That's such a good animation. A clam that will clamp. See? It's right there in the name, Clamp. I think I grew up games alone, even as a child, playing games alone. Even as a child, not everyone had parents who would buy them games, so I never played games with my friends until I was an adult. I can kind of understand that. Okay, let's go ahead. I can't type today. It's okay, Guru. It is okay. I can't type most days either. multitasking too much. See, my thing is I am actively aware that I am very bad at multitasking, which is why I just kind of don't try to do it anymore. One of those autism moments where you're thinking faster than you can type, so you skip half a dozen words. Gosh, the more tired I am, the more that happens. I am so thankful that, like, when I'm in Kubi or Jude's chat or, like, Seventh Forces, when the few times when he streams, like, thankfully they can all seem to mostly parse what I'm going for most of the time. I'm autistic, but I have that issue. It can also be common in ADHD, because those two things can definitely have a lot of shared traits. Granted, I'm definitely not a psychologist or anything, guru, but if anything, I'm pretty sure, regardless of what it is or isn't, you're definitely not neuronormative. No offense. It is meant affectionately. But then again, I don't know, because, like, I'm not sure how... I've tried so hard to mask it. Have you? I know OCD is becoming a possibility for me. I just figured you were already diagnosed and knew. Ice Beam! Let's freaking go! Gotta get bubble tape for victory lap. It's a lady's clam and it needs a slam. Ice Beam! No teacher has told my mom that I needed one, so I've been raw dogging it. I mean, I remember being diagnosed with ADHD, or, well, back then they called it ADD. We didn't have high definition back then. And, like, they tried to prescribe me with something called Ritalin, which I don't even think is used anymore. And my mom, like, read over the, like, side effects and shit, and she's like, no, I'm not giving this to my child. Because I know a few classmates I went to school with had, like, their parents did put them on Ritalin. And, like, I'm not speaking for everybody, and other people may have different experiences. Maybe it helped other people, I'm sure it had. But the people I knew turned into, like, complete zombie versions of themselves with no personality. Which, like, I know ADHD medicine now is way better. I'm just saying, like, the one specific medicine at that one specific time was not good. Took a RADS R test one morning out of boredom. Minimum score on autistic person can be 45 points. I got 159. Medication for ADHD the 90s and early 2000s is so terrifying. Yeah, like, I'm so grateful my mom didn't try to put me on any of that shit. Then again, like, a lot of kids got put on it by their parents just because they were tired of the kid being loud and needing attention all the time. Yo, let's go, Ella Kid time. Tamago, por favor. I'm so fucking bilingual. I'd like to throw those pants into a river. mean, yeah, like... So many people I grew up with, their parents very clearly did not want children. And it's really depressing watching people turn into everything they hated about their own parents. Hi, Liz. Good evening, Mots. This is Liz. Are you awake? Oh, you have to hear this. My Nidoran female is so adorable. It always wants to nuzzle me. And we just saw a really gorgeous Bellsprout. But I was on the phone, so it got away, and it is really angry. Oh, I'll call you later. When I was a toddler, my household was really unstable due to big family changes, so no psychiatrist wanted to label me anything until everything calmed down. It then turned out I was fine, so my mom thought I needed no diagnosis, since even preschool teachers looked at me like, oh, she'll be fine. Brilliant. Return the custard. Bootstrap has grown a lot. Level's grown by 4. Yes. Return the buzz. I guess while I'm at this, I should probably try to go ahead and get a Smoochum. Gonna look up Sarah V real quick and see if there are any cool egg moves that Smoochum can learn. I'm surfing on Sarah B because it's just what I do. Okay, weird thing with Jinx, it learns Psychic on its own naturally in red and blue, but you have to evolve it from Smoochum to get Psychic on it. Let's see here. It looks like Meditate and Lovely Kiss, which I'm not really super excited about either of those. Especially since Jinx is a special attacker, Meditate's not going to do much. Imagine Jinx from League of Legends. See, the problem is you shouldn't be thinking about League of Legends at any point in your life at all. So human-like is the breeding type. That's like the Hitmons, Abracadabra, and Alakazam, Drowsy, Hypno. Not a lot that it can really breed with. I like Jinx. Well, I mean, like, I forget there's, like, Arcane and stuff. So I don't know if Jinx is in Arcane. I haven't really engaged with it at all. I do want to work on being able to sound like Jinx from League specifically for a D&D character I've had in mind forever. Your voice is already beautiful, though, Rain. But I totally get that. I guess it's just gonna be Custard. So I would love to have a Jinx with, like, Psychic or whatever, but then I'd have to level up a Kadabra or something. I'm like born with just the move Psychic. Damn, literally nothing learns Shadow Ball by level up in Generation 2. It has to be with the TM. I mean, let's see. Jinx is an Arcane, she's more developed, she's no longer a quirky manic pixie girl who should definitely get therapy. I mean, she still needs therapy, but no longer depicted as hot. Okay, Jinx, where are ya? Yeah, unlike the breeding system in like the later Pokemon games, for the early generations before like Gen 6 or 7, it's pretty rigid how stuff gets passed down. Because, like, if you want a TM or Egg move, you have to have it on the male Pokemon in the breeding pair. Which, like, it's way better now in the more recent games because you can actually have, like, the egg move on either parent and pass it down. Actually, I think with Generation 9, if, like, just two Pokemon that have a compatible egg move can just teach it to each other without even needing to breed. Like, you just teach it to the other Pokemon. Which is pretty cool, honestly. Why did I close Cerebi when I knew I was going to need to open it right back up? Okay, what level were we wanting to get Gloom to before evolving into Vileplume is the question. Got Sleep Powder, Acid, Moonlight, Petal Dance. Moonlight would be nice. Petal Dance just doesn't feel like a great move. I think Amos already has Razor Leaf, which is probably the best grass move in Gen 2. I guess we'll go for Moonlight, which as a Gloom is level 35. What level is it as an Oddish? 32? I don't think that's enough of a change to worry about not evolving it into Gloom as soon as it wants to evolve. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Mellow Cream can chill and sit this one out for just a little bit while we, hatch some egg. While we furiously incubate these tamagos. Agitating the huevos. In Jinx depiction, Arcane gives her some kind of schizophrenia. Oh shit, I hit the wrong button. Okay, well goodbye, Abra. Oddish, Oddish, I love Oddish. I really do love Oddish. It's like... It's hard to parse with so many Pokemon now because I have a lot of favorites. I have like hundreds of Pokemon on my favorites list. Oddish is definitely up there near the top for my grass types, though. I don't know, it's like, being the age that I am, I always feel like I'm kind of, I feel like I'm kind of being lame having a Gen 1 Pokemon is my favorite anything when I'm like, you know, when you're like over 30. Over 1,000 Pokemon incoming, you need a list of favorites. Like, I cannot deny my love of Oddish. Appreciate Arcane depicting a female character having a mental breakdown and it low-key looks gross. Like they show saliva and the urge to just be destructive. Yeah. No, that's good because, like, especially in a lot of media stuff, it's like pretty much the thing you're implying is like, you know, if something happens to a guy, it can be gross, it can be scary, it can be destructive. If something happens to a girl, it's cute, and for some reason, like, her clothes are coming off or something, somehow. It's like, no, director, I don't think this is the time to make her look fuckable. She's experiencing the horrors. But it's like, I really do have appreciation for any media that lets its women be just complete people. Like, have the full spectrum of emotions, have the full spectrum of pain. Like you said, have it be a little bit gross, a little bit weird, a little bit, you know, just like all the things real people experience. I know I'm saying a little bit, but I mean a lot is fine too. It's just that I unfortunately have a thing I really need to get out of dampening any kind of declarative statement I say, because while my mom never did this, a lot of people I grew up around would just, like, try to poke holes or argue in anything I made any statement with any kind of confidence. Granted, a male nervous breakdown may be destructive because of Ooga Booga Me Man Smash Ooga Booga, but the female urge to want to destroy everything still present. Yeah, like, no, being destructive, especially when you're angry, is not an exclusively masculine trait. Because, no, like, I absolutely cannot stand in any kind of media when it's like, oh, you'll see, like, you know, one of the male characters being angry, and it's like, it'll be, like, serious or a threat, or, oh, you know, like, oh, he's angry, you know, his opponent better watch out. But, like, if a woman's angry, it's like, oh, she's being hysterical. Them crazy women, am I right? And it's just like, that just makes me want to turn something off. It's just like, change the channel or whatever you want to call it. Do people even say change the channel anymore? People even know what channels are? I mean, aside from the Wii Shop channel. We still have YouTube channels? Okay, I guess, yeah, channel's still there. It's funny because, like, it's completely lost on a lot of people. I think that YouTube's motif was originally, like, a traditional, like, you know, like 70s or 80s TV. Because I don't know if anybody ever saw the old iOS app for YouTube, but it was actually, like, one of those old brown and beige TVs with the little knobs on the side from, like, the late 70s or early 80s. Which, as a kid, I called them Atari TVs, because those were always the TVs I saw hooked up to something in an Atari 2600 ad, like the old advertisements. I wasn't old enough to ever see an Atari 2600 ad when it was new. But rather, I remember seeing, like, you know, just old magazines and stuff like that that would have, like, show the Atari or whatever. Just in, like, thrift stores and stuff like that. Because, like, as much as I do love a lot of old video games like the NES and stuff like that, and I'm even interested in a lot of 8-bit systems I didn't grow up with, like, I would really love to dive more into the Master System. But it's like, Atari stuff just never really interested me that much. Probably because I'm just not a huge fan of score attack games. Which is what most Atari games are, which is definitely understandable. They were very much limited by the hardware and technology of the time, especially consumer technology. But even so, like, I'm not ever even saying a lot that those games are particularly bad, and I can definitely understand the appeal of having a game not have to be something you persistently work on finishing. You know, it's just like, you know, I just feel like playing some Yar's Revenge. I just feel like playing some Galaga. You just turn it on, play it for half an hour or whatever, and be like, oh, I didn't beat my score this time, and then you just turn it off and go do something else. Like, I get the vibe there. And there are a few, like, exceptions of score attack games I like. I do like, Pac-Man Championship Edition, I think is really fun. But for me, like, a lot of those games just end up being a novelty that I play for 20 minutes or something, or 10, 20 minutes, and be like, that was neat. But I feel like that's also the reason why I don't really engage in live service games, is because, like, if a game is a score attack game, especially if it's a looping one or a single screen one, you don't ever really finish the game. And in that regard, it's like, sorry, my brain, like, halted for a sec there. It's like you don't ever really finish the game. And I guess I just like to be able to really have, like, an ending and a completion status. I mean, granted, some people have come up with some for arcade games. I know with Pac-Man reaching screen 256, where the game partially, well, it doesn't really crash, but it corrupts the graphics and stuff like that. Because, you know, 255, I think, like, I'm not using the right terms here, but it's like, usually a single byte is 200, or I think damn it, no. My brain is completely faulting, but I know 255 is very much a thing in a lot of computer stuff. Yeah, but great job. Great job. You really nailed it there. It's a thing in a lot of computer stuff. Overflow. Thank you. Also, welcome back, 7th. I don't know if you ever actually left. My stream crashed multiple times in a short amount of time, but yeah, overflow is the thing I'm looking for. I am very sorry. I had to go to job today, and I'm trying to play it cool on stream, but my brain is ever so slightly fried. But we ball. Had to leave for a bit. It's all good. Even if it's just for a couple minutes, I'm always glad if you guys come by. Fuck it, we ball. Fuck it, we ball. Also, like, my favorite version of that meme, and it's funny because I actually saw this in a thrift store once. It is a bowling ball attachment for the Wii remote. Well, well, not an attachment. It's like a full remote. Like, you could put your Wii remote in it, and it was like a bowling ball. It was made for Wii Sports Bowling. And it was just like an image of that in its box, like the product box. And it said, fuck it, Wii Ball, but Wii was spelled W-I-I. Fuck it, Wii Ball.
Hello, it's me, Alan. Mutz, are you raising your Pokemon properly? I read in a book that you should raise any Pokemon you catch with love and care. By the way, a wild Bellsprout escaped on me yesterday. A computational error on my part. See you later.
I know this is a super unpopular opinion, but I actually really enjoy the little phone calls from characters in, like, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and Emerald and stuff. Granted, I'm starting to think a lot of Pokemon complainers just don't like text. But I do. I love running around and talking to people and reading the stuff, and I don't know, it just adds so much life and flavor to the world to me. Because them calling you and, like, yeah, some of the stuff's inane, and some of it's, like, little hints. Like, for example, if you know someone's always on, like, Route 34, and they say they keep encountering Bellsprout, and you're like, man, I want a Bellsprout. I'm gonna go over to Route 34. They said they encountered one. They're like, you can put those clues together, but it doesn't shove it in your face. Don't like text? Pokemon's an RPG. You have to like text. You would think that, but, like, I don't know, it's like, I remember when Sun and Moon came out, I'm like, oh, this is cool how they focused on the story. I always wanted more story in Pokemon. And then people are complaining, like, it's just these walls of text. I have to mash the A button 30 times before I can get to the gameplay. And then they'll finish and be like, this story didn't make any sense. It's like, no shit. There's a good place to train my level 10 Oddish. Maybe I'll just go back to Union Cave and stick to the Geodudes and stuff, because I've Sun and Moon for its story. It's definitely one of the best, and it is actually really cool to see a Pokemon game, like, tackling the concepts of generational trauma. And then, of course, there's Moan, one of the most tragic characters in Pokemon, because of his amnesia. He got to raw dog Lusamine twice and forgot about it. Like, that's heartbreaking. Sun and Moon does have a problem with walls of text, but it's more to do with its tutorials. Unfortunately, it came out at the peak era of Nintendo over-tutorialization, which I think is something they petered off of from with the Switch. I think Breath of the Wild was definitely the turning point away from that. But especially on Wii U and 3DS, I feel, and it really started with the late Wii era and went all through the Wii U and 3DS's lifespans, is basically every game treating you like you have never seen a video game before in your entire life. Sun and Moon was bad about that, because it's one of the things that I remember stood out to me, because the first Mario and Luigi game I ever really played was Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Which, it's a game I really enjoyed. But the thing is, the game starts with an unskippable tutorial. It's nearly an hour long. And yeah, I think that is one of the things with Sun and Moon, is like, it front loads so much of the early text being a tutorial that I feel like it maybe conditions people to start skipping text through the whole game, even though much later in the game the text is important and very engaging. I think it also ties into a modern problem I feel like a lot of people have, is that, like, on-screen text that isn't voiced is treated like it's lower priority. Which is, like, that's at least one thing I can give to older games that don't have any voice acting whatsoever, is none of the text really feels like it's more or less important than anything else. Dream Team is neat, but there's tutorial sections literally hours in. I don't know how they manage that. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, the thing that fucked me up with Dream Team,
is there is a mechanic that they deeply tutorialize for you that doesn't show up in the game again. Granted, I'm pretty sure every single Mario and Luigi game is rushed and has a bunch of cut content. Which, like, I know a lot of people are mad at Nintendo for not buying Alpha Dream when they went under after the massive failure of the Bowser's Inside Story remake, but I feel like the issue with Alpha Dream had to be something managerial within the company. Because I feel like they were always struggling and they were always on the back foot. Like, the Mario and Luigi games are really good. I'm not saying they made bad games, per se. I'm saying, like, it's weird because, like, one of the things I've started to become more acutely aware of as I've gotten older and more familiar with games is, like, I can kind of tell little corners where they definitely had to rush this. Because I feel like when you're younger and you're playing video games, you kind of take everything at face value like it was a deliberate decision. And you're like, I must just not be understanding the vision. Or, like, you'd be like, why would the developers decide to do this? And it's like, you know, when you grow up, you're like, they did not decide to do this. They said that someone said the game ships in 2 months. Wrap it up. AD closing was kind of a matter of when, not if, from the 3DS era onward. I mean, from what I understand, a lot of Alpha Dream people, like, either went to other studios that have similar ideas, like, shit, I cannot think of them. They make a lot of yarn. Good Feel. I think some of them went to Good Feel. I think some of them went to, like, Artoon, and I think quite a few of them just ended up getting employed as regular, just, like, Nintendo employees. The biggest sad thing about Alpha Dream closing is it had a lot of staff from, that worked on Super Mario RPG from Square. Yeah, someone to Artoon. I remember hearing about that. He said, I thought some might have went to Good Feel, but maybe I'm just, like, Mandela affecting that, so don't quote me on that. But Artoon itself has a really interesting history. They worked on, like, a lot of stuff. I know they worked on Blue Dragon. I'm pretty sure most Yoshi games not made by Good Feel were made by or with some involvement of Artoon. Because, if I recall correctly, I might be getting this confused with another company, but I thought Artoon was, the original Sonic character designer. Like, he worked at the studio. Oshima? Because I know Oshima actually came back to work with Sega on Sonic Superstars. He designed, Trip, who's one of my favoriteest recent characters. Oshima's company, yeah, okay. Because I feel like sometimes I get Artoon and Arzest confused in my head. Also, I know Oshima did a design for Sakaguchi, like a Mistwalker's mobile game, Terra Battle. And it's so funny because it's like, it was supposed to be an original monster design, and while it wasn't necessarily Sonic related or anything, they may as well have just called him like Speedy the Porcupine or something, because it was definitely a very Sonic coded character design. I played Terra Battle a little bit on my tablet, like when I got my first ever Android tablet, and it was like okay, but I don't remember much about it. I literally only gave it a try because Mistwalker's involvement. Mistwalker, more like doesn't miss Walker. Thank you, I'm here all week.
No, seriously though, all of Mistwalker's games are either from good to flat out amazing. Though granted, I haven't played Soma Bringer. Wait, Arzest is the company. Artoon's his old one, basically mostly the same stuff. Oh, okay. So I'm technically getting them confused, but I'm also kind of not, because they're the same-ish company. Gotcha. I don't feel as bad now. Also, there's something wonderfully poetic about Fantasian being published by Square Enix and it all just looping back around. I feel like one of the big things of the 20s is a lot of the old guard creators that left the big publishers, like, there must have been a lot of management shakeups. I know for a fact there was at Square Enix. But it seems like the repairing a lot of bridges once thought to be burnt. Because, you know, obviously Hideki Kamiya is working for Capcom again, and he's got his own studio, Clovers. And, you know, they're working on the Okami sequel, which is... I'm so happy. I am so happy that it even exists. Pokemon Wahooey! Hi, Kyle! How you doing today, dude? We're grinding and leveling up in Crystal. Filling up that dex. EP, I feel ya. Okay, give me just one moment. Once again, I cut a worthless object. But yeah, how you been, dude? Besides EP. Hideki Kamiya's back at Capcom. Is he thriving? He is absolutely thriving. He's literally in charge of a sequel to Okami. They announced it at the Game Awards, I think, a year or two ago? I think it was 2024, but I don't exactly remember. Working, looking for a better apartment to move into still. I feel ya. The thing is, Guru, a lot of Platinum staff left Platinum, so they're not really Platinum games the way they used to be, if that makes sense, because a lot of the creative staff left. He got hate for the whole Bayonetta VA drama, even though he wasn't really responsible for it. I don't know why he would get hate for that. He wasn't involved. PlayStation Network powder. I guess I'll put it over Sweet Scent for now. Western fans like to point fingers. I don't even think of that many Western... Like, it's like they're just so very loud people. Yeah, the VA, I know she was a pretty wretched person. IIRC, he mentioned early on in the drama situation, it's a lot more layered than people know, and people dogpiled him. And then it ended up being a lot more layered than they knew. Who would have guessed? People these days are just eager to hate. Yeah. Like I've said before, there are a group of very loud people who do not want solutions, they just want to bitch. VA Loki made it sound like it was his fault. Well, like, yeah. But, like, before all the other stuff came out, essentially corroborated everything Kamiya said, yeah. But I feel like a lot of people have already forgotten about that, because most people are just back to appreciating Kamiya's work and joking about the fact that he loves to block people on social media. Though I remember, one of my favorite Kamiya responses to somebody who was trying to be kind of a little bit sassy with him, was somebody asking why, you know, his replies to English comments are always so, like, curt and to the point or whatever. And he just quote tweeted them and said, "Please, write me an entire paragraph in Japanese." I get it if it was a Japanese VA who were complaining. It's only mostly English Bayonetta VA who was being quotation marks fucked over. Well, I know that with Bayonetta, it's like Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, where the original Japanese releases were English voice acting. So she technically was a voice for the Japanese version, but Kamiya is very kansai. They're like that. I mean, I think he's hilarious, but... It also reminds me of one of my favorite Devil May Cry memes. He's from Osaka. They tend to be very straight to the point. I did not know he was from Osaka. 175 on this save. Damn, girl. Yeah. Well, this is the first game I ever streamed. We're still playing the same save file from, like, the second day I streamed ever. I mean, this was also the game I played when I first streamed. It's just, I accidentally erased the save file when I was trying to reset the clock. But yeah, that's right, Kyle. I forget you don't really duck in here too terribly often because time zone shenanigans and all that. But we are completing the Pokédex as much as we can without trading. And no glitches. So I'm actually